And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hello, this is horror affiliate Jason here with my review of Massacre Video's box set of Black Devil Doll from Hell from 1984 and Tales from the QuadeaD Zone from 1987. And both films were written and directed by Chester Novell Turner. And actually, I was unaware that these are kind of underground cult exploitation classics that some people enjoyed. I knew of course, Black Devil Doll from 2007, but I had no idea that it was influenced by, this film by Chester Novell Turner. And I'll be honest, these films are ultra low budget. They are shot on video. The sound on them is really grainy and terrible. I mean, you have to jack it way up, and of course, it hurts your ears in some parts. And the film is actually so low budget. What you're watching, there's two different versions of Black Devil Doll from Hell on here. There is the original Chester Novell Turner's version, and that version is ripped straight from his VHS copy. So there is like tracking lines and mess ups during the film, and it is really ultra low quality. And then there is a re-edited version by a company called Hollywood, which, I watched that version too after the original version. And come to find out, really the only difference between the two is the intro and outro music is different. And the original version is kind of like a Casio cheap funk type of track. And then on the new edited version, it's a heavy metal song that's, on the intro and outro. And that's really it. There's no difference in the actual content of the film. If I would have known that, I would have actually watched the Hollywood edit version first, because it is actually a little bit clearer and brighter. It's just a better transfer overall, so I highly recommend if you're going to get this set, watch the Hollywood edited version first, and then, go back and watch the original. Alright, now what do I think of this film, man? This one's really going to be hard to tackle. It is a bad film. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's really bad. But does it quite fall into the so bad it's good category? Some ways yes, some ways no. The first flaw of the film is the actual pacing of it. I mean, it is slow paced, unnecessarily slow. The film is basically about this Christian woman. She is talking to her friend, and her friend's talking about, banging guys. And she says no, she's not going to do that till she gets married and this and that. And she's telling her friend she needs to straighten up and go to church. I actually enjoyed that conversation. I thought that was pretty cool. So what this woman does, she eventually goes to this shop in town, this little antique shop, and oh man, it takes forever to even get to the antique shop. Before you even see the doll, it takes forever. There's a guy outside of her house selling stolen goods, trying to sell her TV and radio. And instead of, that should have been a real quick conversation, but they elaborated on that for so long, and oh my God. Anyway, by the time she gets to the antique store, she's going to buy this doll, this black doll with like dreadlocks. Kind of looks like Rick James. And for some reason she buys him, and the voodoo woman that's selling it says, this doll will grant your wish, but come to tell you that there's been 4 other owners before you, and the doll has returned back to me every single time. So the woman, is curious about the doll, but she doesn't believe, anything mystical or magical about the doll. So she takes the doll home, and the doll's in the bathroom while she's taking a shower, and the doll, of course, wakes up and is watching her. And eventually she gets raped by the doll. The doll becomes alive, and she wakes up, and the doll, he like attacks her, knocks her out. And when she wakes up, she's in bed, strapped to the bed. She thinks it's a dream when she wakes up. From that point on, of course, she's horny and wants the doll, and the doll's gone. She can't find him. So to satisfy her, she goes, and the guy that's selling stolen goods outside her house, she invites him in and tells him the story, and then she has sex with him, but she's not satisfied. She goes to a bar and picks up a guy and brings him home, and she's not satisfied. So the only thing that can satisfy her is this doll. That's basically the story, but it is ultra slow paced. It could have easily been a 30-minute short. I mean, there are scenes in the film, like when she's looking for the doll, she literally goes in through the entire house and every room looking for him. It even stops to show her cleaning her bathroom with Ajax. Remember back in the day, that's how they did it. I remember doing that as a kid, pouring the Ajax all over the tub and hand scrubbing with, wire bristles or whatever. But it actually shows that shit. I mean, there was no need to show half of this film. It could have easily been a really good short film, but instead, there's just not enough of the good shit that happens. Oh, man, this one's tough. As far as this film, believe it or not, it actually is a lot better than Chester Novell Turner's follow-up film, which I'll get into that one right now. His follow-up film he did 3 years later, and it's called Tales from the QuadeaD Zone, and it's a horror anthology film. And fortunately, this one is shorter. It's an hour long. It's basically 3 stories. You got the main wraparound story, which is this woman. She's in her house, and her ghost kid is talking to her. And all of a sudden, out of thin air, appears this book called The Tales from the QuadeaD Zone. And he wants her to read stories out of it. So what you're watching is her stories. The first story is so friggin' lame. Oh, my God. What it's about is this hillbilly family. They're sitting around at a table eating dinner. And the father's saying a prayer. And he basically says, "Thank you, Lord, for the food. There's 8 of us here, but we only have food for 5 people." And so after he says the prayer, people grab the sandwiches, and of course 3 people are left out of eating. So they do it again the next night, and "Thank you, Lord, for the food. Only 5 people can eat again." And so in this time, the main hillbilly brother, he's wearing overalls, this big giant white guy with a beard. He says, "Hold on." He goes into another room and comes back in with a shotgun, and he blasts 3 of them away, so there's enough food for 5 people. And, oh my God, that's how it ends. It shows different people saying, they were killed the next day. They were killed the next day. This person went to the witness protection program. So that is literally the short. I think it's 10 minutes maybe, but could have been 2 minutes. Once again, terrible pacing in the film. And it's such a terrible story. I'm like, what was the purpose of even showing that? Oh my God, it didn't make sense. So the second story is probably worse, actually, because it's stretched out so long. And that one is this guy had died and of a heart attack, you find out. And his brother steals his body from the morgue, which doesn't explain why. And he brings him home. And then he has this, with 2 other friends, he has 2 buddies with him. And his 2 buddies leave. They talk about the most boring shit ever. And then they eventually leave. And then the one brother is talking to the other brother saying, "Man, you tried to outdo me your whole life. I got a B, you had to get an A. I wanted this girl and you end up getting her." I mean, oh my God. It's just such terrible dialogue. You're just slapping your head like, oh my, just please hurry up. And so the guy goes to his basement to dig a grave for his brother that he stole, which still doesn't make sense to me at this point. And while he's digging the grave, the ghost spirit comes and inhabits the dead guy's body and brings him back to life. And he goes down to the basement where his brother's digging the grave, and he grabs a pitchfork and stabs him. The end. That's the end of the second story. Another one that could have been 4 to 5 minutes maximum that was stretched out to like 20 minutes. Oh my God, it was terrible. And then finally you get to the wraparound story. Father comes home and he finds out. I'm not sure why he's so mad. I don't know if it's because she's talking to the dead son or because she's reading this occult type book. I have no idea. That's not explained at all. But he starts beating on her. And there's like a minute fight, which is probably the highlight of the film. You see the husband and wife rolling around on the ground. They go from the living room, make it all the way to the kitchen. Finally, she grabs a kitchen knife and stabs him with it. So he's laying there dying, and he actually calls 911, and the cops come and arrest her. Well, I'll say they come to arrest her, which this is the most ridiculous part of the whole film, is they allow her. She wants time alone to herself because her husband's dead, even though they know that she just killed him. But they let her go into the bathroom alone. And when she goes into the bathroom, she grabs a razor blade and slits her throat. The end. Oh my God. Another horror anthology film that probably could have been 30 minutes long that was stretched out to an hour. So I am not recommending this, as you could probably tell. It does have its charm. I do like the low budget. I like the ambition. The highlight of the film actually is probably the documentary the mini documentary of them talking to Charles Novell Turner, and you could tell he's a super nice guy, and he wanted to just basically do his own thing. And so I did enjoy his interview, and then you get an interview with his girlfriend, and she tells about her experiences making both of the films. So I thought that was kind of a nice gesture, a nice little special feature that they put on there. If you're already a fan of the film, then this is a nice presentation. I think you will enjoy it. But if you've never seen it before, I say if there's any way of, watching it first before you buy, then I would definitely suggest that. So overall, both these films are pretty terrible. Black Devil Doll is a little bit better. Overall, I would probably say it's technically a 3 out of 10. And Tales from the QuadeaD Zone is basically a 1.5 out of 10. Both films have terrible audio, especially in Black Devil Doll. You have to crank up the volume to hear what they're saying. And then they bust in with the music, the Casio keyboard music, which is kind of cool, kind of a little novelty thing. But they get into this high-pitched note, and it just, like he's holding it down, and it's kind of really annoying sound after a few seconds, so you got to turn the volume down for that. So that gets really annoying. But if you're a huge cult exploitation completist and want everything, then this is actually definitely a good film for your collection. Alright, that's actually all I have for the review. And once again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned to HorrorPhilia.com for more reviews and interviews.